Man, the homies got to stop playing into these people working this, man. It's all a scam, dude, to turn us against each other, man. It's just to break you down. It's a breakdown thing. They have to break you down, right? Well, to break you down and sign a contract. But I'm never going to lay down and just let people bum you for some stuff I know that I didn't get just because you want to get ready to be the feds so you can push a different agenda by manipulating everybody. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about that article that Grant Gruber put out on his website on 2/14/25. This is exactly why I tried to warn everyone with my first video over 5 years ago. Everyone who came out of Pelican Bay was and is still targeted. They're using informants, tapped cell phones that are CDCR approved, and fabricating information to set everyone up, just like they did with those OC interviews Gruber mentioned in his article. It's a scam by CDCR by leaving out crucial information. Number one, OCS spoke to over 20 different prisoners of all races that day, not just Sylvester and I, as they claim. Number two, those interviews had absolutely, listen to me, absolutely nothing to do with any crimes or any criminal activity. When we got sent to Sacramento County Jail for them 3 years, CDCR flooded the prisons with altered transcripts to manipulate people. It took 4 years for us to finally get the person that authored those transcripts on a stand in court to question about it. Perriman admitted on the stand that they interpret those transcripts in their own words. You understand me? They interpret those things in their own words. He admitted that on the stand. And that's why I filed my lawsuit on that bullshit. And ask yourself, if we're as dangerous as they claim, why would they intentionally fabricate documents, turning those very same people against one another? Hey, this is very important. I wanted to explain to everybody, man. I mean everybody. I'm talking about the DP population, people on the street, or the people on special news yards who, for whatever reason, went over there. But I want them to know they're being manipulated too. And I thought mostly people don't know what's going on. I mean, I didn't know to the extent of what they were doing until we went to this Dauber hearing to cross-examine this gang expert, Cory Perriman, who was the main investigator who debriefed white validated members for the last 20 years, he said. So he went throughout the state anytime any alleged white validated member decided to debrief. This is the guy that went and debriefed them.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
How he twisted people's words up and fabricated evidence where he went down there and showed our discovery to other prisoners. He showed that kill Kite to Scoops, because he knew Scoops was going to like Kite, which he actually handed to the cops, which they fucking just put in our records in. That's why they're like, well, there's a split in the Aryan Brotherhood. Yeah, I mean, because you tricked Scoops into saying all that shit. He used this evidence and shared it with other prisoners in a manipulation to get them to react to that. What they do is they kick back after they give this information to people because they know that people are going to either get on the phone or send messages, and they end up getting these messages, and then they just writing reports. They know people are going to spread it, and this is conquer and divide, and they just keep stirring the pot like that, where they just end up destroying everybody. Put up these fake transcripts, and knew people were going to say shit. So what they do is put their informants around them. Right, because they know they're going to say something as soon as they give it. They're just like, God damn it, that shit, man. I get it. I get it, man. But you could imagine how easy it is for CDCR to manipulate everyone like that. And then what they do, they go show these people that shit. They're like, oh, man, you know what I mean? They just stir the pot.
They'll always be trying to control the strings and, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and get everybody to think we're all enemies and continue this cycle of violence. And so that's the whole thing. And they're being paid to do that, and they're just puppets. So I hope the people do come together and see the truth.
We were challenging California Department of Corrections gang expert, and when we got him on the stand, his name's Cory Perriman, my attorneys cross-examined him, and this guy admitted that when all they do is confirm things to the debriefers, right? So if one debriefer, just say for instance, he mentions the stabbing and mentions several people involved in this stabbing, but he don't know, like maybe what was behind, or maybe there's other further individuals involved in the stabbing, and then some other dude debriefs, and he's talking about the same stabbing incident, and he mentions them same people the other dude did, but he mentions even more information on that stabbing, and maybe there's other people involved in it. What the California Department of Corrections do? Well, they'll take that information and add it to the other dude's information that didn't really fully know the whole thing. And then when you read that dude's debrief, it looks like it came from that debriefer, the first debriefer. My attorney got him to admit that if one debriefer mentions, just say, another stabbing, and another debriefer mentions that same stabbing, but has a whole different version of it, that's it. They leave that alone. They will never, ever put, well, this other debriefer contradicted all that, and then use this other dude's debriefer. So really, right? You got two different stories. So you would think that they would use each one of their stories to contradict each other. That, okay, this dude said this one thing about it, this dude saying this. They don't do that. They actually admitted that this dude actually admitted on the stand that all they do is confirm things. They don't try to discredit anything, even when they have people saying a different thing. So later on, when you read these dudes debrief, you'll never know unless they use both of their debriefs in the same court hearing or trial. You won't know that these two dudes said different things about the same incident. You understand? And of course, the CDCR is not that dumb to. I can't even believe that they admitted that on the stand. But listen to this. This is very important too. The gang expert testified that by California Department of Corrections policy, they don't do things necessary under the law. They do things to keep track of stuff inside their prison, and they have the right by their own policies to do what they want. That's what he said. Those debriefs aren't like valid stuff that you would use in a courtroom, right? At our hearing, he admitted this, that that's their policy, that we only do stuff to corroborate different debriefers solely for information in the California Department of Corrections. It's not legally binding in court because of what they do. Just like they said, they use their own interpretations. Like on the conversations they had with several people about the Bulldogs, they use their own interpretations in that and put that in the transcript because it's not being used. It's not being used in court. It's only for California Department of Corrections use, and they can do whatever they want in the Department of Corrections. He actually said that. So when these individuals decide to cooperate and testify at trials, what people got to do is thoroughly go through their debrief. And like they'll mention names in there, like my attorney did. Any of these dudes that the federal government decided to use in our trial, which was Donald Mazza and Travis Burhoff, our attorneys, every single name that they mentioned in their debriefs that were victims that they admitted they had stabbed or they admitted someone else had stabbed, our attorneys went and talked to all these people and to see if their stories matched up with the snitch's story that he's telling now. And lo and behold, they got like 5 of them that these dudes try to minimize their involvement in things. And so that's what I'm saying. So anybody that ever comes across a debrief in prison, what you're seeing isn't really the truth. It's what the California Department of Corrections interpreted for this particular snitch, this debriefer, which is very important for people to realize. I didn't know that. I thought when you see a debrief paper, that's exactly what they said, but it's absolutely not true. That's some of it's what he said, but they use other debriefer information that people talked about on the same different incidents, and it might bolster what this dude's saying, and you know what I mean? They add to it, expand on it. But actually, it is that this dude, he only might have known 2 names that were involved in this incident, and all of a sudden, but this other debriefer added 3 more names and absolutely more information on it, and they put that in the first debriefer's debrief, and, you know, and say, oh yeah, you know, show them what the debriefer said, and it's like, oh yeah, and they just put that dude in the debriefer like he said it. So someone might come across that shit 3 years later or 4 years later and think this dude done snitched on 5 people. Actually, he only snitched on 2. The California Department of Treasury gave him the other 3 names to a different debriefer.
You here to upset the peace, to establish justice. We got to break the prison paradigm. And the prison paradigm is the triangulation of the divide and conquer mechanisms that they've been used as social engineering programs to keep us fighting each other so we won't never overthrow the tyranny of the beast that's sitting on our neck. I don't want to overthrow the brother that's got the same boot on his neck that I got on mine. I want to throw the one that's wearing the boot off both of us.
But the thing is, what I wanted to say is, this is the true reason why I put the videos out in the very beginning. I never asked for no help. I was trying to let people know why this case happened. It was retaliation, because I'm telling you, if people should want something that the cops don't want, and California Department of Corrections, and that's the unity. They feared that the most, and that's why we were attacked. And so you know that once they put all that false propaganda out, all these trolls and everybody ran with that, you know, and the whole time I'm just trying to let people know they're could be targeted too, right? I wasn't asked for no help. I never asked for no money. I was trying to just let people know what was going on. So now, you know, really haven't said nothing for the last couple of years because there was really nothing else to say besides what I did in the videos to try to warn people. Everyone needs to listen to that video ex-Lieutenant Hector Bravo put out called Confidential Information.
This is a good example, no disrespect. 2 Scoops wants me dead. Okay, now who is 2 Scoops? He is an active heavy hitter, right? And his situation right now is peculiar because he's actually in this it's actually happening to him right now, okay? He was federally indicted for his crimes. He pled guilty like a G. Yeah, I plead guilty. Send me to the feds. And instead of sending him to the feds, they have him stuck, right? They have him stuck in a cell. Not to mention the dude was in the shoe forever. So now staying still in the shoe. And it's all because of confidential information like that. You guys are going to start to see the angles here. Damn, Hector. So if a tweaker on an SNY yard says he's scared of 2 Scoops, that's enough to keep him locked away in a cell forever? Yeah, that's how the prison gets down. That's how the CDCR gets down. Now, do I agree with that? No, because I know prison. I know dudes. I know the style. I know this. I know the whole fucking thing, right? I know when a fucking tweaker is feeding me a bunch of bullshit and another dude is suffering the consequences. I understand. I can put the pieces together, right? Am I vouching for him? No, I'm just telling you on the surface how it is. So what the sergeant will do, because the lieutenant ain't doing it, the sergeant will type up a confidential saying, hey, tweaker number 1 is afraid of 2 Scoops. Therefore, tweaker number 1 gets his wishes. He gets to go to ADSEG. He got what he wanted at the expense of another individual. Good old 2 Scoops. Again, I'm using this example heavily because it's good, man. It's good to put relevant information out to the real world. For those that cannot, you know, I'm a fucking fair one across the board. And he gets issued a 1030. Hey, do you know fucking Joe Scumbag over here at Donovan? No, I don't know Joe Scumbag. Well, he says he knows you. And he says you want to kill him. What the hell? Therefore, we're locking you up and throwing away the key. Nah, that's some fucked up gacho shit, man. Gabacho shit. There was a heavy hitter, may or may not have been from Compton Barrio 70s, okay? Donovan. He came with all kinds of attempted murders on conspiring to commit murders on inmates, yada, 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 yada. Motherfucker made him look like Hannibal Lecter. Well, Hector, he is a heavy hitter of one of those organizations. Listen to what I'm telling you, man. Lancaster didn't want this inmate at their prison, so they utilized all this information from Joe Scumbag number 1, Joe Scumbag number 2, Joe Scumbag number 3. Those are your 3 confidential sources. Hey, this fool, he wants everybody dead, man. This fool's like Cody Monster Taylor. He was gonna take your wind, man. So they ship him to fucking Donovan, right? Luckily, I have a friend, good friend, old ass man. He used to work at Calipat. He'll probably watch this. He was the senior hearing officer, the show for the rules violation report, the 115 hearing. He pulls a heavy hitter into the office. I wasn't there. He tells me what happens. He pulls a heavy hitter in the office. He's like, hey, I'm Lieutenant so-and-so. I'm going to be your senior hearing officer. You've been charged with conspiracy. Conspiracy to commit murder times 1,000. A heavy hitter looks at him and just says, yeah, whatever, man. Find me guilty. I don't give a fuck. You're going to find me guilty anyways. And my lieutenant being savvy as fuck, my friend, we were both lieutenants. He's like, nah, hold up, man. We're going to go through this. We're going to go through this appropriately. And the guy was like, what? You're actually going to do your fucking job correctly? Yeah, we're going to fucking do it by the numbers, man. So he's like, okay, this fucking scumbag right here, right? This fucking tweaker, he whatever, bam, unsubstantiated. This fucking asshole over here, unsubstantiated. In the end result, he ended up finding the dude, the heavy hitter, not guilty on the conspiracy to commit murder as a result of the confidential sources were not concrete information. Basically, it was he said, she said. Can you hold a motherfucker accountable for he said, she said? I mean, technically you could. I mean, but is it the right thing to do? If you know the game, then no. Then ethically, if you know the game, then come on, man. Let's keep it real. Motherfuckers got to live there, right? You got to work there. You got to show up every day. They stay in there. He found him not guilty.
They'll be targeting next people after this case, or they'll be targeting other people. Almost every person that was part of the hunger strike or the end of the hostilities manifest are facing federal racketeering cases or already in the Fed.
Does it matter to you that it's still against the law here in Jamaica?
Every law is illegal.
Every law is illegal.
Every government upon the face of this earth today is illegal. Not one of them is legal.
All laws are illegal, bro. All that shit is illegal. Laws are like invisible gates, walls. It prohibits you from doing certain things, but it don't prohibit them. Like, who's gonna monitor the monitors?